Hey guys, it's Andres with Camp Canine Training. Today we're going to talk about selecting a crate for your puppy, right? So when we have a puppy, I love to do crate training. And the reason for it is because it allows us to give a calm, safe place for the dog to be. I 1,000% believe in crate training. I think it's the easiest way to potty train your dog to build confidence and also to give them a place to be. For the next 10, 15, 18, 20 years, you're not going to be able to be with your dog 100% of the time, right? You're going to go on vacation. You're going to have to go to work. They might get hurt. There's a lot of things that may happen when you have to utilize the crate, when you might have to kennel them, where they might have to have surgery and they're going to be kenneled for 16, 18 hours a day. So you want to make sure that they understand and feel comfortable in a crate before you do everything else. I'm not a fan of pee pads or anything else because you're teaching them to go inside of the house. And then you have to transfer that into outside of the house, and it just kind of becomes this huge mess, right? So if you're teaching crate training, within just a week or two, if you're doing a good job and the breeder or foster did a good job, you can have a very, very well potty trained dog, right? Understand that if the dog is having accidents in the house, it's 100% your fault. You need to be able to manage this as a 2-month-old baby. The number one mistake I see with clients and puppies is that they give too much freedom too soon. It's a cute little puppy. We want to give it the world. We want to give it all this freedom. And then they're a year old and they have all this freedom with no boundaries, with no rules, no regulations, no structures. And that's where everything else starts building up: the anxiety, the jumping, the lunging, the barking, the anxiety, all that stuff. If you build a solid foundation where you teach them where to be, and then later on this can start turning into a climb, then you can solve 99% of the behaviors. So I 100%, 1,000% believe in the climb. But we need to be able to introduce it properly. So Xena came in when she was 6 weeks old. The first thing that I did was introduce her to a small kennel, right? The rule when getting a kennel is we want to make sure that they can stand up and turn around. Just snug enough, just tight enough where you're like, I think that's a little bit too tight. But that's exactly what I want. Later on, as they get older, as they get better, they can start having a little bit more freedom. And then later on, even way more freedom, right? But if you put a puppy at 6 weeks in a kennel this size, they're going to go to the bathroom in one corner and then sleep in the other, right? A small kennel will start teaching them how to hold it, right? And it's also your job to be able to put them on a schedule. So puppies do really, 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 really well on a schedule, right? So my schedule with her was 7 a.m. We woke up, she went potty, we did a little bit of training, she had breakfast, she went back in her kennel, right? And then we did it again at 10, we did it again at 1 o'clock, then again at 4, then again at 7, then again at 9, and then she went out one last time at 11. I was lucky enough that she was sleeping through the night and not wake me up, right? Puppies' bodies slow down at night. So a lot of times they end up sleeping the entire night, the 6, 8 hours, and you don't have to wake up to take them out. There's some puppies that don't, right? And that just depends on the breeding and the genetics and a whole other factors, right? If the puppy wakes up and is crying, make sure you take them out, but make it scheduled, right? They do so well on schedules. Another big thing I see clients is it's a puppy. They have to go out every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes, every 2 hours. No, guys, put them on a schedule, put them back in the crate. As puppies, understand that they're going to sleep a lot anyways. So have them spend that time in a structured environment. She's spending anywhere right now between 16 to 18 hours in a crate a day, and she's already off leash. The reason I'm able to do this is because I offer a lot of structure at the beginning. So again, she's about 3 months old. So the rule of thumb is about, or she was 3 months old, now she's about 4. The rule of thumb is for every the amount of months that you have, it's the amount of hours that they can be out. So she's almost 4 months, so she's able to hold at about 4 hours throughout the day. So at 7 a.m. we get up, and now we're not doing it 10 a.m. Now we're going to 11, right? And she's spending from 7 in the morning to 11 in the morning in the crate. From 11 to 12, we do training, climbs, leash, sit stays, down stays, etc. She goes back in the kennel from 12 to 4. Right? From 4 to 5, we do another training session, and then from 5 to 9, she goes back in the kennel. 9 to 10, we do another training session, and then 11 until 7 a.m., she wakes back up, right? So it's a lot of structure, guys. Notice she's having absolutely no freedom. It's crate, climb, walks, heels, everything else. And then now I'm starting to let her play with my dogs, right? But I needed her to understand how to follow a leash, understand crate, understand a climb before I would allow her to play and socialize. And we're going to talk about play and socializing in a later video. Right now, we're just talking about the foundation of crates, right? So Get a crate big enough where she can stand up or he can stand up and turn around. Not too big, not too small. Because notice, Xena, break, no, girl, Xena. She will fit in this crate. Xena, crate. But it's too tight. She can barely stand up. She fits and she can turn around, but it's not tall enough, right? So just because they can fit doesn't mean that it's a good idea, right? Just because we want to give them lots of space and lots of freedom doesn't mean it's a good idea either. So find something. Break. That's your good girl. Great. Find something where they're able to stand up comfortably and turn around. If you give them too much freedom and they're spending that amount of time in the crate, they're gonna go to the bathroom in one corner and go to sleep in the other corner. The other big thing that's going to help with potty training, along with schedule, breakfast, dinner, and going out to the bathroom, is also feeding them in the crate. So I tell my clients not to use a food bowl for the first 4 to 5 months of their age. So you get a water bowl, but you're not going to use a food bowl. If you're feeding your dog 4 cups a day, 2 cups are spread on the bottom of the kennel. And then 2 cups are used for training. So instead of you giving treats and trying to use high reward value treats for your dog to do something, have them work for their own food. They have to eat. So instead of you bribing them with something else and then feeding them and giving them a paycheck later on anyways, make them work for their own food. So 2 cups, you're literally just going to spread on the bottom of the kennel because dogs don't go to the bathroom where they eat or where they sleep. So we just achieved that, right? And then you use the other 2 cups to train. Putting them on a climb, yes, reward feeding. Having them follow the leash, yes, reward. Having them be comfortable with the collar, yes, reward, right? Later on to teach sits and to teach downs, you could do that as well, right? But everything you're utilizing food for, right? All right, perfect. So once you've selected the right size crate, now we want to train them to get in and out of the kennel, right? So the most basic way and the easiest way is you're going to use part of those 2 cups that you're using to train a dog. So you lure them in and you throw a little bit of food in them so that they start eating. I don't want you to close the door for the first 20 to 25 drills, right? Then once she's finishing her food, you're going to bring her back out, help with the leash, and again, you're coming back in and guide them in with their food. And then there's going to be a point very soon where they're just going to go in by you doing leash pressure. So instead of throwing food, then I want you to start rewarding after they've gone in. Great. Yes, reward. So now we're waiting until they make the decision to go in, right? And you repeat this drill, right? Notice it's still, we have not closed the door. Great. Yes. And you repeat this process over and over and over again. I don't want you to introduce the word crate until they're launching in the crate. One mistake that I see with people when they're teaching commands, whether it's a sit, a down, a crate, a heel, is that they introduce the word way too soon. The dog doesn't know what it means. And you're saying crate, 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 and you're getting frustrated and your tone of voice is going up. So do the entire process without saying a single word. Use the leash, use the food. Teach them to follow the leash. Teach them to follow the food because it's going to make your life 1,000 times easier when you're trying to teach them stuff. And then once you have this behavior where you're bringing them in and they're rushing in like that, that's when you say crate and you can reward because now they're going to start associating the word. But you saying crate and pulling them and lunging them and getting aggravated and saying crate, 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 crate is not going to help out, right? So that's going to be the second step. And then the third step is working already on a stay behavior. So the moment they start getting out of the kennel, you're already blocking them with the door. And this is all you're doing. So the door becomes the bad guy, right? And once they're staying in there, yes, reward with affection, yes, reward with food. And now you're also built a stay in the kennel without physically saying the word stay, without doing a motion of stay, right? All my commands are infinite. Crate is crate, heel is heel, sit is sit, down is down. I never use the word stay because it implies another command for the same behavior, right? And this also starts building one of my favorite protocols, which open door doesn't mean go. So just because the door is open doesn't mean we're going to bolt out. I want to be able to open up the kennel and put the leash on, put your e-collar or equipment on. I want to be able to open up the car door and you not bolt out because there's a busy road. I want to be able to leave my house without you bolting through the door. So I'm sure you've seen a dog, have a dog, friends have a dog, that they're opening the door and the dog's already, his nose is bulging through, right? And trying to open the door, trying to bust out the door. That won't happen if you build this, because you're already building door manners, right? So not only does the crate teach potty training, confidence building, and door manners, but it also starts building a lot of mental stimulation where we start teaching a stay that later on we can utilize. So it's a whole foundation that we're able to use, right? Um, so the biggest things, again, reminder guys, when we're selecting a crate, when we're doing potty training, is select the right size, making sure that they can stand up, making sure that they can turn around. When you're teaching the crate, have a leash, have food, guide them in. Once they understand the command and they're bolting into the crate, that's when you introduce the command, right? Don't say crate too soon, because they don't understand what you want them to do. They don't speak English, they don't speak Spanish, they don't speak French. Wait until they're rushing in, right? And then the third thing is building this automatic stay, right, with the door, where open door doesn't mean go. A lot of time in the crate, guys, 16 to 18 hours a day, break it. Have those breaks in between. Don't leave them in there 18 hours in a day. You have to make sure that you're having structure time, training time, potty time, but make it on a schedule, right? Because that's going to help you out dramatically. So hope you guys enjoy the crate training video. One of the last questions that I usually start getting as well, that I want to cover before I let you guys go, is puppies tend, when you bring them home at the beginning, start to have a lot of crying, spinning, whining, barking, biting the crate behavior. It's extremely important that you let them cry it out, right? No matter how loud it gets, no matter how bad you think it is, make sure you leave them in there, right? Xena spent probably 3 days just screaming bloody murder like she was going to die. They're not dying. They're okay. The reason this happens is because they just left their mom and their litter, and they've never been by themselves. And that really freaks them out. And that's the number one way to build separation anxiety. As puppies, we want to carry them and nurture them all the time. And then there's going to be a point where they're 40, 50 pounds that we can't carry them anymore. And then they're following us around, and now they're a year old and they've never spent any time by themselves. And then now, next thing you know, you leave the house and they're crying and they're barking and they're destroying your house because you left, and they've never been by themselves. So something's wrong. They have to get out and they have to be with mom. They have to be with dad. So the number one way you build anxiety is by letting these guys be with you too much too soon, right? Letting them sleep with you on the bed too soon, let them be up on the couch, too much cuddling, too much affection for no reason. It's okay to give affection, but why are you giving affection? Have them spend a lot of time in the kennel so that later on you can enjoy a dog and have them sleep in your bed for years to come. But if you start having them sleep too soon in your bed, you start giving too much freedom too soon, you're going to build anxiety, because at one point you are going to have to leave. So that's why I recommend a lot of time in the crate, 16 to 18 hours a day with potty breaks in between. And then you're able to start giving more climb time, less crate time, more training time, less crate time, more freedom, less crate time, to the point where you can just have the crate and they're going to go in and out, but they don't necessarily have to be there, right? So hope you guys enjoy the video. Next video is going to be about teaching the climb and teaching leash work. So hope you guys enjoy.